Welcome to the Stadium Nord here at Lille. Well, we know 3 of the semi-finalists, and this will decide the 4th. The Canadians at the moment lining up to accept the challenge of the New Zealand Parker. They're the Canadian team, this massive pack of forwards that has really seen them through the first stages of the competition. They lost to France, remember, 1913, but they beat Fiji 13-3 and Romania 19-11. Steve McDowell leading the haka, and big Norm Hadley in the second row for Canada. Massive 6 feet 8.5. Up there taking it front on. And making sure that none of his teammates flinch from the challenge. There he is. Steve McDowell, part of that very experienced front row. Sean Fitzpatrick and Richard Lowe, they were split for the match against Italy, but until then they had played 25 successive times together, which is a record for any front row around the world. Grant Fox, sorry, about to kick off for New Zealand, and for them, Gary Wetton today breaking Colin Meade's record, his 56th cap, and they've had to reshuffle their back division. John Timu going to fullback. It'll be the first time he's played there since he was at school, and Bainga Tuingamala takes his place. Fred Howard, the referee, sets the game in motion. That was Zinzan Brook hoisting the high one. The Canadians have got it secure at the moment, trying to roll that ball and drive it away down the right touchline. And they've got the All Blacks on the retreat. They've certainly come out fired up. There at the heart of it, Chris Tynan, the little scrum half. And Tynan has the put in. That's a tremendous drive, took them fully 15 metres. To Rees. And this time he finds touch. What a start, David Kerr.
This Canadian side just oozes confidence and confidence. They're good at everything. They drive well, they scrum it well, they clear their own line. It's going to be a tough match.
34-19. New Zealand if we take.
With the throw in, Sean Fitzpatrick. Father had 3 caps for the All Blacks back in the 1950s. And again, the Canadians trying to get that drive on. See which way the scrum goes, and it goes to Canada. They were going forward again as they drove off that line out.
Get up, Sean, get off his arm. Get off his arm. I don't want you locking on his arm. Excuse me.
And there you can see the Canadians outweighing the All Blacks in the forwards by nearly 40 Ks. Nothing in it in the front rows. But the loose head prop for Canada, Eddie Evans, renowned as a scrummager. Everybody in the world rates Diego Cash, the Argentinian, but he gave him a very, very hard time in the qualifiers. There he is, number 1. The referee fighting really hard to try and get them to keep the front row up, and a moment of silliness from the All Black front row, dragging along their opposite number, gives a transfer from the free kick to the penalty. Hoisted it to the corner, and it's marked by Zinzan Brook.
Right here, John, the All Blacks put a very good behind. The Ravens have started really, really well. Just look at the line up there. They are a huge performance.
Gareth Rees gathering, hoisting it back at them and chasing it hard. Grant Fox just slips him. A chance for New Zealand just to steady it. Basham putting it high. Tuingamala, but the Canadians held firm. Got it away. Christian Stewart coming through with it. And they've won it from that situation. Really was good possession for them when they looked like losing the ball. That's sliced. And Rees again puts it high. Oh, and a mistake in the centre from Craig Innes. The Canadians driving past. Tynan going through. Puts it out to Van den Brink. And again those big Canadian forwards driving. Tynan going again but held.
Tremendously good play by the Canadians. Superb body positions in the forwards, driving forward, mostly taking the right option. I thought the scrum half could have cleared that last one, would have maybe more chance of a try.
So Canada with a scrum just 2 metres from the All Black line. Again, that anchored. But a knock on by Tynan. At the vital moment, the scrum will be to the All Blacks. 5 minutes gone, and so far it's been all Canada.
And the French crowd are right behind the Canadians. Their team may be out, but I think they've adopted the guys in the red shirts because the crowd are going bananas for Canada.
Offside, the flanker coming off the edge of the scrum, just looking to steal a yard, knowing that New Zealand had the ball.
New Zealand must look for control. They want to control the pace of the game, which means they've got to win good line-out ball. That is two-handed line-out ball that they can drive and dispatch when they want to. They'll be looking to move from this position deep into the Canadian half, probably through a kick from Grant Fox.
David Spears, the Canadian hooker, to throw into the line-out, and Hadley showing he's not going to take any messing. Bishop putting the ball high. Well taken by Gray. Boot comes through, but the All Blacks have it. Alan Wetton. And a penalty. That was Richard Lowe. The stoppage for the scrum had already been whistled. And it would have been a scrum to the All Blacks, but penalised for unnecessary rough play after the whistle.
It looks dreadful, but this is one of the ways we can solve the problem with players going over the ball.
Gareth Rees, the outside half, who spent his school days at Harrow, coached by Roger Utley there. Back goes the Canadian captain, Mark Wyatt, and he's in trouble, gathering it. It has rained all morning, and you can see from the spray that goes up every time the players run across or try to fall on the ball, that this ground is very wet indeed. So the All Blacks with their first good attacking position. A line out, just 5 metres out. They get the tap, but the Canadians pouring through. They free it to Fox. Again, the hands let them down in the middle. Innes trying to tidy up. And the Canadians could be in trouble here, committing everything to the forward. Alan Wetton. Bishop feeds again. And Fox, not a very good kick from him. But picked up. And, well, a try. A lucky one, in a way, for John Timu. But a try it is. The wet conditions there. Henderson making the pass. And then the tackler going straight past him. He was able to regain his feet without ever having been tackled and dive in at the corner.
Yes, but to be fair, the build-up was good. Grant Fox realised he can't move the ball out too much in this weather. So instead of moving it down the line like the last time, he's put a high kick up. The All Blacks have taken advantage. A little bit of luck there, I agree, but the try was well worked out by Grant Fox, and I think it was a good score for New Zealand.
This is certainly much more like the All Black play we've come to expect. They played it deep and wide, won the line out, and Grant Fox took the right option to put the ball higher. Wonderful pass from Craig Innes, one-handed around his man there to put Timu in at the corner.
So Grant Fox, the second man in the world to go over 500 points in international rugby in this tournament. The most prolific scorer per match there has ever been in international rugby. Oh, and that's a superb kick. Great kick. The angle, everything wrong for him, the most difficult position, and there's a man not showing his emotions, Alex Wiley, the New Zealand coach, who must feel a lot happier with 9 minutes gone than he did after 5. Wyatt, the captain, restarts. And the New Zealanders penalised for obstruction. They weren't going for the ball, they just stayed there to stop the Canadians who were following up the kick from getting to it. And Wyatt coming across, I think he's going to have a go at goal. Yes, he is.
An entirely unnecessary penalty given away there. There's a Canadian coach. He'll be hoping very much that his team can get back on the board. The last thing they want to do is lose the initiative in the early stages.
So 11 minutes gone. It's a penalty to Mark Wyatt. Created a world record with 8 penalties in the summer. Strikes that one, but it's just short, on target, but dropping underneath the bar. This ball skidding, and Fox not able to find touch either. Wyatt collects this time, puts it up. And the Canadians now have it. Tynan moves it wide. Rees appearing outside the outside centre. And the only thing that Fox can do is tap it into touch. A couple of metres from his own line.
Yes, these Canadians are showing the world that they can play rugby. They've started really, really well. They've taken a lot of early pressure, and even though they're points behind, they've moved the ball really well there. Now they've got an attacking position on New Zealand line.
And that one bobbling around, anything could happen. But that's where they're glad. They've got a big man like Vainga Tuingamala to power away like a forward around the front of the line out.
83, 91, Winnipeg!
The interference, the Canadians helping themselves to get up. Glenn Innes getting a hand to the ball, but it was illegal.
Difficulties for New Zealand is going to be stealing line-out ball from this Canadian line-out. To gain control in these conditions, the line-out is crucial.
The Canadian second rows, 6 feet 8.5 and 6'6". A lift. Evans, the prop, penalised.
I think he must be a strong boy to be able to lift that lad, John. He's an enormous man.
He certainly is. 18 stone 8. Ennis unable to gather it. And the All Blacks, David Kirk, employing exactly the right tactics. Now they've managed to settle down a bit.
Very sensible tactics to put the ball up in the air and chase it. It's very difficult to handle, and they realise the Canadians got a big line out. There's no point kicking it to them. They want to break the game up.
And there they've succeeded in getting the throw in. That's what they want. Sean Fitzpatrick. Taken beautifully by Alan Wetton, two-handed. But Canada have filched it. And the All Blacks coming around the edge of the maul there, penalised for being offside. Gareth Rees, born in British Columbia, a Welsh father who's a former manager of the Canadian team and an English mother.
57-19. 57-19.
He played for Wasps in the 1986 Cup final while he was still a schoolboy at Harrow. Played very well too. They lost, but he laid on 2 tries for them. Scott Stewart.
And again, they're doing exactly the right thing in these conditions. It's a pity really, because the conditions aren't going to dictate the game, and really there's no other way either team can play. They've got to just keep it in the air, chase it, and get down there and play the pressure rugby.
Fred Howard, the referee, working really hard to try and keep those line-outs apart, insisting that the line-out forwards jump up. Well, the crowd thinking he should have allowed advantage, but Fred Howard saying there was a second little tap forward by the Canadians. But the first one definitely by Grant Fox, so Tynan gets the put in. Well picked up by Rees, had no choice there but to take the tackle. And the All Blacks have the put in.
Well, a good illustration there. The All Blacks have a better technique because they go in low and hard at those rucks, and by doing that they're going to have the putter at the scrums, and that's going to be a really important thing at the end of the day, how many putters they have in those scrums.
Bashop standing off, fed by Zinzan Brook.
You're inside, you're inside.
Wyatt read it though, but he doesn't put his kick into touch, and that gives Fox the chance to put it back. Not a very good kick from him either.
I think it's important that both teams realise they can handle the ball if they keep their passes sympathetic, that is, give them a bit of air and stay close together in the backs. I thought the All Blacks had a good opportunity to run with the ball down the right-hand touchline, instead they kicked it away and gained nothing in the end.
But David Fox, a very dominant character in that New Zealand back division, and he's seen a couple of mistakes in the centre already. That's going to put him off a bit.
I think they need to use the short side, use Zinzan Brook at number 8, running with Graham Bashop and John Kerwin on the right-hand side. Short passing amongst the loose forwards.
The All Blacks getting together well. Trying to roll off there. That was Brook and Wetton trying to come away. A real bomb. That one is coming down with snow on it. Tynan gets in there, but he can only touch down over his own line. A 5-metre scrum.
Yes, it took about 2.5 minutes for Grant Fox to suss this game out, and he's putting some beautiful bombs up now. That's real pressure on the Canadian line. It's not the fact that he kicks, John, it's the quality of his kicks that are so telling.
Big push now, straight through, no problems at all. Bernie Mikhail with his first try for New Zealand, streaking through, a lovely move, beautifully executed. And David bearing out exactly what you said, it is possible to handle.
Absolutely, a great move, and I hope we'll see it coming up in a minute. The important thing about this is the scrum half takes the players to the right, the number 8 feeds the inside centre, running on an angle which takes him close to the scrum, outside the flanker on the right-hand side of the Canadian scrum, and through the gap. Good try.
Wide. The coach would have worked that one out, I would have thought, on the training part, because it was such a well executed move. Back up, taking away the defence. Brook flicking up to McCarhill, and a good coach's try, I would say, that one.
So coming up to midway through the first half, and Grant Fox with a chance to make it 12-0. Another tremendous kick. It can't be easy out there, because when he plants the left foot, there must be a great danger of it sliding away. We had a parachute display just before the kickoff, and none of the parachuters managed to stay on their feet, causing uproar amongst the crowd.
Grant Fox to stay on his feet, and he's kicking out of his hand, and he's kicking from the ground. He's just superb.
So New Zealand 12, Canada 0. Reese, and that one was a bit hurried. John Timu, he makes a mark. They've got to test him out. That's what they've not been able to do yet themselves. But Timu, his first game at fullback since he was at school.
This is a fine all-round ball player, John Timu. I don't expect him to have too much trouble with the catching and the handling and the timing of his running. It's just the positional play that he'll find difficult. He watches that one very well into his hands.
Playing there because Terry Wright and Shane Philpott, the two selected fullbacks in the squad, are both injured.
There's also a big difference in the quality of the kicks from the two fly halves, whereas Grant Fox putting his guy under tremendous pressure. Reese is kicking too long.
Well, they won that somewhat unorthodox flee. Evans goes in. Canada still going forward, but they couldn't control it. Accidentally offside, knocking the ball into the melee in front of him. Well, he gathered it in, Steve Gray, but you've got to pay more attention than ever to your handling in this. Timu picks it up, comes back to the short side. The referee, though, has seen a knock-on, so calling a scrum infield to New Zealand.
Stay up! Stay up, Dickie Low! Stay up, Dickie Low! Stay up! Stay up!
Referee keeping the scrums apart.
Wyatt goes back into his 22 so he can kick direct to touch. Left-footed, slices off the outside of his boot.
One thing's for sure, John, the New Zealanders will certainly know how to play in the rain. They do enough of it out there, as you and I both know from our tours. It's a fair old country for the rain, isn't it? And this won't bother them at all.
No, a lot of people saying before the match that the rain would be a great leveller. Well, it is in one way, but there's a fair bit of rain out in New Zealand, especially in South Island. A few games down at Christchurch were very like this. Great driving there from Gord McKinnon. And Kerwin knocking that one forward. That would have been a miraculous catch if he'd made it.
I wonder whether it would have been better to use his feet and try and trap it. A very difficult thing to do in these conditions, to lunge forward for the ball. Interesting, two different techniques of scrumming. New Zealand like to sit back, Canada getting up close and just flopping in.
It's gone too far round. Once it goes through 90 degrees, the scrum must be reset.
The world's most ridiculous rule, John.
And in trouble. Good covering up, one centre for the other. Stewart in trouble. Woods tried to clean it up, but the knock forward, and New Zealand again with the put in at the scrum.
Suicidal to try and pass the ball, I think, deep in your own half from a scrum like that. Canada are having to kick the ball away, New Zealand are, to get out of their own half.
Fred Howard doing very well. I was refereeing, that was the chart showing the dominance New Zealand have achieved since those first 5 minutes. But Fred Howard telling them that was always going to go down, that scrum, and keep it up. But penalised, obstruction there on Tuingamala.
Get another example, really. It's not just a case of kicking the ball, it's the quality of the kicking. And Fox just looked up, saw the big space at the back of the Canadian defence and put a beautiful chip in.
Well, possession absolutely 50-50, but territory very much in New Zealand's favour. This kick being given out at the point where the obstruction happened. If you obstruct a kicker, it's in 15 metres, but that wasn't the kicker who was obstructed. That was just a chasing player. So it's out just about 7 metres in from touch. It's a lovely bit of conversation going on out there while they're waiting for this kick. Fred Howard is telling Vainga Tuingamala the result of the Scotland-Ireland game and explaining that it all rested on that final try right in the last couple of moments. Fox again. Good strike yet again, another one over. And New Zealand really taking a grip on this game with 26 minutes gone.
Yes, they must be confident now, John. They're asking who next week's opponents are going to be. And with Grant Fox kicking like this, they're quite right to be optimistic.
This is undoubtedly the best performance New Zealand have put up, I think, in the tournament so far. They're playing with a control and a precision that we haven't seen previously. Grant Fox is executing the tactics superbly.
Up goes Gary Wetton, he missed it and looked hopefully at the referee. Playing in his 56th international for New Zealand to take the great Colin Meads record. Nice take by Tynan, back to his captain, and a good little switch inside by him as well.
But again, the quality of the first kick from Canada, you see, has put them under pressure because it's, what, 30-40 metres out and it's an all-black throw.
A great pause as the hooker and scrum half yell out the line-out signals and then relay them to the forwards, dictating on where the ball's going. Ennis got up for Canada, but he couldn't control it.
Calculated risk to throw the ball to the back of the line out under these conditions. Plenty of upside if you can get the forwards peeling around the back, but difficult to handle.
Tynan to Rees. And Timu doing well, coming across again. But forced to run back was there. Innes nearly turning it into something. Back it comes again. Fox. He's playing percentage rugby. At Lille in the rain, he says, a win will do. I don't really want to get involved in anything fancy. Penalty against Sean Fitzpatrick. Innes there, trying to turn that into something through the middle. Handed off the first, but then he was taken down. But a penalty now to the Canadians because Fox following through a bit too heavily. And Fitzpatrick really getting involved with the Canadian captain in a way that he didn't need to.
But also we saw an advantage there with the All Blacks. When they do get tackled, the ball always comes back their side, and that's also going to be very important in conditions like this.
And the Canadians have it. The big man, Norm Hadley, onto his second row partner, Van der Brink. And this is what Canada have got to do, is to rediscover that drive. Now they're getting in behind, and once again they've got the All Blacks going backwards. Great cheer from the crowd. Now they're in problems though. A bit pedestrian in the centre. But they've emerged with it. McKinnon driving away again. And Rees decides to go for position. He gets Timu right into the corner, but Kerwin's back there. A better angle. But the first good position Canada have had for quite some time.
Yeah, that's great play by the Canadians. They've nothing to lose now. They're too far behind to worry about it. They just may as well go and play some rugby. They've done themselves proud already in this tournament. That was a good passage of play. More of that than lift these crowd behind them.
Well, the crowd totally behind them. You would think that France were certainly playing in this match. Again, the possession from the back of the line out, just not good enough, but a penalty. A penalty to Canada because the law says the tackled man and the tackler have to get back on their feet. And Zinzan Brook here, the tackler, as you can see, gets involved, trying to play the ball on the floor.
One thing that is concerning me a little bit about this All Black performance is the height of the forwards as they arrive at these rucks and balls. For me, I'd have the washing line out tomorrow and have them running underneath it. They're running too high and they're arriving. The Canadians are getting lower and driving them back off the ball.
So, 31 minutes gone. And Mark Wyatt has certainly the best chance that Canada have yet had to get points on the board. Yes, it's good. And that was important for them. They had to get something out of this first half, David.
Absolutely. They've played some good rugby, particularly early on, but New Zealand, for most of the half, have taken a stranglehold on good quality possession. Canada have won some ball, but they haven't really been able to do anything particularly constructive with it. Grant Fox has almost played it by numbers. He's kicked the ball whenever they've been under any pressure and moved the ball occasionally when there's been an opportunity.
Wyatt, the record point scorer for Canada, 263 before this game. Rees again under it. And he's missed touch. Up goes the kick from Zinzan Brook. It's a good one too. Van den Brink. Canadians stopping for a moment. They thought there was an offside there. There wasn't. It was loose play.
Once again, Gareth Rees kicking poorly. You can't do that against the All Blacks. Even though they rescued it in the end, he's putting his own team under pressure. He's getting a lesson off Grant Fox.
Fox running to the blind, but it's Brook coming open, almost through the first line of cover. Bishop seized on as soon as he gets a hand on the ball, but suddenly coming clear, Craig Innes. McDowell, and the ball knocked back by a Canadian hand. And McDowell, in fact, saw what the referee didn't. You'll see it again here. This was Craig Innes almost getting through. And the Canadians arrived, and as McDowell went to lay this back, it was a Canadian hand that knocked it back over his own line, but the knock-on given, Canada will have the feed at the scrum, and that will be, hopefully for them, a chance to relieve the pressure. That scrum twisting again, but Bishop caught that time, went for it, thought Tynan was sweeping it away.
Yes, nice play by the Canadian scrum half. I think I'd have gone for that one. I almost did, actually.
And that kick safely in touch. There he is, Steve McDowell, a black belt in judo, so you don't want to mix with him. He would have competed in the 1980 Olympics, but New Zealand boycotted them in the end. Jones getting up to get a clean ball. Kerwin trying to get into the action. That high knee stepping, but he's lost the ball, wrestled away from him. And there was certainly no ruck there by the end. Wyatt has it.
As the rain comes pelting down, it's just sitting on top of the ground. It's proving more and more difficult to hold your feet. Here comes John Timu, looks to change direction, and whoops, over he goes.
Bishop. Fox lets it go this time. And again a flare-up in the forwards. Just as the line-out was finishing, as the ball was taken away, a little bit of silliness between Ian Jones and Norm Hadley.
Got it. Got it out. Scrum, attack.
And because New Zealand had the ball, they've been given a scrum to restart the game with the put-in. Fred Howard being absolutely firm. I think perhaps conscious of what happened yesterday down in Paris. He's determined that there is going to be no letting this game out of his control.
Good game here, Freddie Howard. Just the right attitude there. Just tick the players off and let them get on with the game.
The New Zealand captain's just been told by the referee to shut him up. His players all caught trying to call the game themselves. There you can see the territorial advantage. Really, New Zealand having had about 75% of the game. The throw-in not straight that time, so Canada have the choice of the line again and scrum, and certainly in this weather they'll go for the scrum, even though they might have fancied their chances with the line out otherwise. Oh, a difficult heel, that ball flying out loose, and Rees kicking under all sorts of pressure. Timu using that tremendous pace of his, looking for space through the middle. Brook and Jones. Alan Wetton, but a Canadian hand gets in on it. Now the big forwards try and get in. McKinnon trying to tidy things up. Drive through again, Timu running off Innes. McDowell not knowing which way to go, but they've got men there. Hitting it wide to Tuingamalo. Oh, almost an incredible take there from Scott Stewart, but at least he got the ball away from Tuingamala.
Well, great skills from both sides in awful conditions, really. Here was the kick, and it's a great take by the Canadian winger. Almost even grabs it in the poorer conditions. Tremendous skills by both sides.
Perhaps, David, they might have moved it in the hand then?
Absolutely, I've been saying all along it should be the last man. Oh, nice double round move in Zinzanbrook.
And Zinzanbrook in under the post with the perfect set move.
Excellent move. We'll see it coming up in a moment. The ball cleared from the scrum again, close to the scrum. No long passes involved, which is important. We missed it there, but the fly half doubles around the inside centre, and then the number 8 takes the ball on the inside from the fly half. Here it comes again now. One short pass involved. Sorry, it's the scrum half running inside to the inside centre, and then the double scissors of Zinzanbrook off the back of the scrum.
Right, the try for Zinzanbrook and the conversion inevitably by Grant Fox, 21-3 to New Zealand. And just coming up to half-time. An important time to get that score, just as the Canadians might have thought they were clawing their way back into this game.
Good set-piece rugby by New Zealand, though. That's 2 tries they'd score from close out from set scrum moves. And right on half-time, you say, John.
So New Zealand 21, Canada 3. Okay, jockey. Welcome back to Lille. The players just getting ready to restart in the second half. That's Paul Henderson, the new boy in the New Zealand back row, getting his second cap today, made his debut against Argentina. And certainly David Kirk, he was the right choice for today's sort of match, a real hard driving South Island forward.
Absolutely, comes from the South Island. He's been fairly anonymous, which is actually a very good sign in these conditions. He's been making his tackles, he's been supporting the forwards and the backs in the driving play, and I think having a very good game. In fact, I think the whole New Zealand forward pack is having by far their best match of the tournament.
Well, New Zealand, for all these poor conditions, have managed 3 tries through John Timu, Bernie McKyle and Zinzanbrook. And the second half is underway. I wonder whether Canada have managed to lift themselves during half-time. If they're to get into this game at all, they really have to start off just as they did in the first half.
That's correct, John. I mean, they've shown a great deal of spirit and commitment out there, but there's more to it than that. The skill factor needs to be higher, and Gareth Rees has got to start putting his kicks where he wants them to go.
Gathered in by an all-black arm was Alan Wetton down there at the bottom, an old hand using all his experience. The Wetton twins, this tremendous record for New Zealand. Gary winning his 56th cap today, a record, and Alan winning his 34th.
There'll be no change from the All Blacks at all. They'll play exactly the same tactics.
Canada penalised for pushing. The throw wasn't straight in any case. It's the support players just going beyond the jumper, trying to obstruct against the opposing jumpers.
The All Blacks with 2 balls, and straight away they're only 30 metres from the Canadian line. That to me is the difference between the two sides.
15, 27, 91.
There's the complicated calls from the Canadians. Probably only one of those numbers that is relevant. You've just got to know which one it is. And that was Wyatt coming in bravely. And the important thing he did was stop the All Black charge, but they're still under enormous pressure. But they did get control of the ball and manage to find a touch on the 22. The black armbands, by the way, that you might have seen are because it's the anniversary of the death of a former member of the Canadian squad, Scott Hudick, and his brother was at the game today. Bad tap, very un-New Zealand-like. And Canada able to start force it away, pick it up through McKinnon. And I really did expect that sort of line-out play to come from the other side. Little tap through, it's too far.
Yes, as members of the Scrum Halves Union here, myself and David Kirk will tell you in these conditions you do not want that sort of line-out ball.
The important thing in these line-outs is to try and take the ball in 2 hands, and if you can't, just to make a deflection which carries the ball to your side, but close enough to the line for another forward to gather it in and hold it up for you. You don't want it tapped way off the line.
That's right, you want one of us back row donkeys to actually fall on it for you instead of having to do your own clearing up. And Kerwin trying to make something of nothing. Sean Fitzpatrick, John Kerwin, who's had a bit of a lean time. He's had a few injuries, but he's only scored 1 try in the last 9 internationals he's played, and for a man with 29 tries in 43 internationals, that's a 4-0 strike rate. Good catch there from the Canadians, and trying to work it away now. Spears driving away, that's what the Canadian forwards love, where they can drive on. A little kick back to the blind side. Kerwin is there for it though. Now, did he take it in front of the line? 5 metres. Fred Howard saying you took it just in front of the try line.
Yes, but again, bad use of the ball really by the Canadian halfbacks. It was a poor kick. The forwards did really well there. They were going forward. He should have given it out to the backs.
Now they're going to try and drive with the second pitch. They've got the weight on the All Blacks. The referee telling them to keep the scrum up. Has it slewed too much? And another put in to the Canadians.
It is a very difficult situation for loose forwards to be in. They need to be on the scrum to push, but at the same time, if they're not ready or indeed off the scrum, they can be run around this close to the line.
Well, he got it away to Rees, but the outside half doing very well to hold that up. And they've got it again. Rees again, back inside. Ball going to floor, that's a wild pass. There was a knock forward, says the referee.
That scrum was a great example of what David Kirk was talking about, because the Canadian back row broke up too early. They lost the power. The back row move they were trying to do was just cancelled because they lost the ball.
Bashop. Graham Bashop, brother of Steve Bashop, the outside half, who to me was one of the stars of this tournament, playing for Western Samoa.
59, 47, 21, Calgary.
Ball bobbling around. New Zealand almost inevitably coming up with it. Wyatt comes screaming across.
Once again we see it's not the amount of possession you win, it's how you use it. And the All Blacks have got a great weapon out there because they've got Craig Ellis who can use his left foot. And once again, 40 metres down the touchline, good use of possession.
Good drive from the Canadians, but again, Tynan can't get away his pass. Beautifully taken. John Timu might not really want to be a fullback, but he's making a very good fist of it.
He's a final round sportsman, he's a cricketer, he can catch the ball in any conditions. But again, the Canadians, a poor kick, a poor option. They perhaps should have done what New Zealand done, move the ball a couple of passes and then kick diagonally.
Even though Zinzan Brook able to come away with that ball at the end of the scrum, the moment it had gone down, the referee whistling. One of the things they're very strict on because of safety. Alan Wetton.
If any young schoolboy fly half is watching this game, they should be watching Grant Fox with a great deal of interest, because once again he put the ball right on the nail there.
Timu. Little chance to have a go through the middle. Wyatt, but he was isolated by the All Blacks. Bashuk quickly in there. He does that very well indeed.
He clears the ball very well from those situations, and under these circumstances to run even sideways backwards to get away to clear the ball is the right option to take.
Innes with the little kick through. And a good bit of soccer there from Wyatt.
I think now that New Zealand have developed some ascendancy in the match, they could be looking to move the ball on the hand a little more, short passes into the midfield to set up a ruck and to go again. I'd like to see the loose forwards running off some of the rucks and mauls and keeping the ball in the hand.
Again, a good ball, just tapped close to the line out as David Kirk was requesting. Huge kick suddenly from Wyatt. Well, that's bigger than anything we've seen in this game by a long way.
That's more like it from Canada. His Donkeys will be very happy with that kick, John. That's 40 or 50 yards upfield, and that's the sort of kicking that Canada really need to do if they're going to get back in this game.
10 minutes gone in the second half. Comes back the Canadian side, but again it was a poor tap. Put them under pressure. Bashuk with nowhere to go. Steve Gray under it.
Come on. Straight up, fellas, no penalties. Go. Look up, guys. 27. No, change. 86, 94. 86, 94. 86, 94.
The referee still demanding a gap between the two teams in the line-out. Hand from Norman Hadley. Rees, now that's a better kick. That'll put some pressure on Kerwin. But the winger was in front of the kicker, so it'll be a scrum back. The All Blacks not hesitating before they choose that option.
Yeah, you see, that's just what you can't do against any side, let alone the All Blacks. And that's where Canada really have been a bit naive in this game.
Fine kick from Graham Bishop there, but just what I was saying before, I'd like to see them keep the ball in the hand. I think they can use the fullback running on that short side, linking in with the loose forwards, and get their driving continuity play going, which is what they're going to need, certainly against Australia.
Well, there are the line-outs. Really gone very much with the throw-in. There's a tremendous number of New Zealanders here in this crowd as well, and now that they're getting down towards the end where most of them seem to have their tickets, suddenly a lot of support coming for the All Blacks. Again, a lot of damage. Kerwin coming in on the open side was what they'd planned all along. Well stopped by the Canadians. The All Blacks rolling off the side. Bishop goes back round the blind side. Kerwin in for a try. And he'll be thrilled about that one. One of the great try scorers in international rugby of all time, but he'd slipped to 4th in the all-time scoring list behind Rory Underwood. Had only had one in the previous 9 internationals, but they're getting that 15-stone frame driving through. And thank goodness he got down that quickly, David Kirk, otherwise he'd have been over the dead ball line.
Absolutely. You see Graham Bishop running here, throwing a nice pass. John Kerwin uses his left hand to fend very well. Number 11's got to stay out to mark his man, and he's through the gap. And as you say, he puts it down quickly.
Good wet weather rugby again from the All Blacks. 13 minutes gone in the second half. The 4th try, and John Kerwin's first of the tournament. And Grant Fox again with a difficult one, but he's such a remarkable kicker. 3 conversions and 1 penalty so far. Short. Again, he was on target. Now the camera from the other side of the pitch giving you the perfect shot of the kick. And it's not often that Grant Fox hasn't got the distance, but it shows how bad the conditions are. 25-3 to New Zealand. We're coming up to just 15 minutes gone in the second half. Grizz Wiley, you see why he's called Grizz. That poker face never gives anything away.
No, you don't get much change out of Grizz. He's called Grizz because he's known to grizzle at his forwards and to get them moving. He's an uncompromising man, to put it mildly.
Evans takes it. Now a good ball for the Canadians. The missed move from Rees, but really Christian Stewart, the outside centre, was going nowhere. And it's New Zealand who come away with the ball.
He's running across field then, the backs, and presenting an easy side-on target. You've got to run straight and at the defence to commit them front on and bring in men straight again off you.
Again, the tap ball, the tap was so deep that it put the scrum half in trouble.
See you donkeys around then, John, to help him out.
It was even worse because they called a shortened line out, so they were keeping us away from the ball.
Absolutely.
Drive it.
Ennis getting up, but again the tap. Well, messy, but they got it. And the kick when they had men outside them, at least it's a good kick. Finding touch just outside the 22. I think Fred Howard will be hoarse by the end of this match. He's never stopped talking to the players, explaining all his instructions, warning them that he's seen various things and not to relax and forget themselves at any stage. There's a knock forward at the line out, so it's a scrum back, and that will be a Canadian put in.
But what a good game Fred Howard's having out there, John. He maybe talks to the players all the time, but that's just what they want, really. They want communication, they want people to talk to them, and has kept the game flowing under difficult conditions.
A little tap through. I wonder again, Tynan opting to just push his team forward when there was a half chance there for Stewart.
He's done enough very good work to get behind the first line of defence, and then to keep the ball in hand and use the support coming up, I think would have been a far better option for him.
Now, if they can control this one, they can. Picked up by the prop. Rolled back. They didn't really want it rolled back. Now if they can get the drive on. Standing off, it's Eddie Evans, the loose head prop, but they need to get in there and drive, or the All Blacks are going to come away with the ball. Now they've got it moving forward again. Hitting that ball really hard. It's back there. And the scrum half has gone in. A lovely dummy. And that will have made everybody's day in the Canadian camp. The game might be beyond them, but at least they've scored against the great All Blacks.
It's a very good try, a very popular try. The forwards worked very hard, kept the ball under control, didn't risk a long pass. Here it came, a dummy stop, here's the gap, and a dive. Great try for Canada.
What a great moment for Chris Tynan. Little scrum half, calling his forwards in. He needs them, But when the glory's there, he'll take it. Typical scrum half, John.
Well, he's probed away all game, and the faces I was looking at there were those of the All Black forwards who took the dummy. One of them was Paul Henderson, and the look on his face told a great deal. Wyatt with the conversion. No, hit the far post.
I think New Zealand have really allowed the game to lose a bit of shape. They've got to win the ball consistently from lineouts and go back to playing the organised percentage game they played in the first half. That is to have Grant Fox kick and then to use the loose forwards running from walls and rucks.
Well, we're up to the three-quarter mark. There's the head-on view. All those huge bodies. And the little scrum half, the smallest man on the field, goes through the lot of them. 25-7 to New Zealand. Taken by Charon. And the touch judge, Stephen Hilditch. I thought he was indicating for foul play at first, but he was just saying it was touch. In fact, everybody was being very dainty with their feet.
47, 49, 25, Boston. Catch and drive.
Gathered in again by Sharon. And that try has certainly given the Canadians heart, getting their driving game going again. Fitzpatrick tucking it in and stopping them, and Bishop hoists the high ball to get in front of his forwards. Henderson with a big tackle on the fullback. That was almost hospital stuff. Innes now putting on the pressure, but the Canadians have got there, all credit to them. New Zealand, though, coming up with the put in at the scrum.
You're exactly right, John. All credit to Canada. They've defended with great spirit after once again being put under pressure by a superb Graham backup kick.
Penalty there, that was formed, that was offside. And the rain, as you can see, still streaming down. It really has been an incredibly good game considering the conditions. It was bad at the start, and it's really now must be miserable for the players apart from anything else.
I think so, and I wonder whether indeed the All Blacks are starting to lose a little bit of interest. They're certainly not playing with the sort of urgency that they did earlier in the game, particularly in the first half.
One of the few occasions where you'd perhaps prefer to be a front row forward.
I don't know about that, John. I don't think there's any occasion where I'd like to be a front row forward.
But they'll be the warmest guys on the field. Another good driving run through the centre. That's sensible play. Out to Kerwin. Good anticipation by the Canadians, though. They're tackling their hearts out. Henderson, the flanker, forced to kick. Good gather by Wyatt. But they're under enormous pressure now. Yet again they come up with the ball. No way through there. And again, remarkable defence from Canada, but Fox punishing the kick that didn't find touch. Tuingamala powering his way through, 15 stone. Oh, and that's a horribly hanging kick. Gray under his own posts. And an injury there to one of the All Blacks. I can't see who. He went into the post, collided with it with that kick dropping right underneath them. This was Gray. Well, we missed it. It was the player who went straight past him who's still down. And it's Sean Fitzpatrick, I think, the hooker.
Here's Vainga Tuingamala, tremendously powerful, using that strength in the thighs to brush off the tacklers, going forwards, turning soon to stay on his feet and looking for support. And there's Alan Wetton there to support him as quickly as he can.
Well, after all that, it's Canada's put in. Right at the point of the stoppage, they were going forward. They cleared it. Well, Rees coming away, and this time he's got a really big kick deep back into the All Black half. And Timu deciding he can have a go. Good tackle, though. Tremendous work from Scott Stewart.
John Timu going over the touchline now. It was a great example of something I've been saying, that the last man can kick in those situations. You can make a couple of passes inside, there's nothing on to run, and the last man can deliver the kick.
22 throw-ins to New Zealand and 10 clean takes. Now that's an important statistic in this weather. Rees dummying and going himself. That could have been a high tackle. No, says the referee. Canadians have it again. Sharon making the initial thrust, then onto his hooker, David Spears. But McDowell now trying to tidy things up and set up a good maul for the All Blacks. And the crowd really warming to the Canadians again, getting behind them. And suddenly the All Blacks breaking up too early. Accidental offside as the ball rebounded off the scrum half into the scrum, so the put in now to the Canadians. Tynan, Rees again. Well, the All Blacks going forward this time.
It's very important in these 50-50 situations just to get the nudge, to get the put in to the scrum and to control now the ball, and in a moment I'm sure the position on the field. The All Blacks will play out of this area and down into the Canadian half.
53% of possession to New Zealand, 47 to Canada. There's not that much in it. Goes Gray. Oh, slips a couple of tackles as he takes it. McKinnon now driving forward. Back it comes. Now this is a good ball to have. Woods bumping off New Zealand, and a penalty to the Canadians. Woods ruining his own work. He had a good break himself. And retaliation, so often the thing that's penalised.
Quite right though, Freddie Howard there. He given the penalty already to Canada. They ruined their own good work, really. The way the crowd are going on, John, you'd think it was England versus France all over again, wouldn't you?
You would. A pocket of New Zealanders down at the Canadian defending end at the moment, but all the rest seem to be behind the Canadians. Kerwin hit really hard by Gray. And again the big forwards pile in. Timo. And Timu. And those Canadian forwards have given everything. Not able to control the ball there. Again the flare up. The touch judge Owen Doyle has just told the referee that he saw the haymaker that we saw there and that the referee didn't see. But Fred Howard content to just give a warning. Good take off the back there. Evans charging forward. Here's the really big man, Norm Hadley. They're trying desperately to find a way through. McKinnon, and it's broken up into fisticuffs. Zinzambrook going bananas in the middle of the field. Or is he going to call one of the All Blacks over? The man in trouble on the Canadian side is definitely the Canadian hooker, David Spears. And Fred Howard now going over to Owen Doyle, the touch judge on the far side, to see if he can add anything. He was following play. Number 2 is going to take the blame for this one, I can tell you. a final caution given to the Canadian hooker, and I can add in, because I could hear Owen Doyle, that he has told the referee that it must be a final caution, that he's a very lucky man to stay on. So, the All Blacks get back to the real business. Let's have some rugby again. Kerwin down the far side.
It'd be nice to see New Zealand just up the tempo a bit now, to start to play with a bit of urgency and a bit of a controlled aggression. We'd like to see Gary knock a few heads together and just get them to get on with it and play hard and fast for the last 15 minutes.
31 minutes gone on the clock, but there will be some injury time added on.
91! Boston!
Good jump by Henderson, but the tap too far, and it's New Zealand who got to struggle to recover. Ball again rebounding. So an accidental offside and a scrum given to the Canadians. It's all a little bit wild out there. To do with the Canadians managing to keep up the tempo in their play, but perhaps cooling their tempers a shade. Great little burst from McKinnon. The flanker charging away. And Al Sharon penalised for just charging on beyond the ball, taking a man out.
We see a prime example there, the Canadian hitting Craiginess off the ball. It really was a naive thing to do, and Freddie Howard once again was correct in giving the penalty.
Great run here though from Gord McKinnon, the flanker. 33-year-old, but certainly showing some pace. Good jump there from Ennis. Sharon acts as the link. There's nowhere for Rees to go. But good work there from Christian Stewart, driving on the outside half, a centre driving on the outside half to get some forward momentum till the forwards could arrive, but New Zealand have it. Now there's space, and that was a late tackle too. The referee's seen it, but he's playing the advantage, and John Timu. And he's given the try. It's a very clever dive in from Timu. The weather's so wet that he knew by diving early he'd make the tackle impossible, and yet he'd still make the corner.
Good run from Graham Bishop to begin it, carried on by Craiginess, running all the way looking to draw the man, draws him perfectly, gives it to John Timu, and as John has said, sprinting down the touchline, two defenders coming. He knows he can make it if he slides, and as long as he doesn't make a second move, it's a fair try. So he dives early and slides over the line. Very intelligent play.
This was a great try. Started in the All Black half. Good handling in terrible conditions. And John Timu here, extremely intelligent play. He knows he's about to get hit. He knows he's near the touchline. So he uses the weather, does what the parachutists did at the start of the game, slides in, and a great try.
Well, the crowd don't like it at all, but there was nothing illegal about that. And just with 35 minutes gone, Craig Fox has the chance to take the score over the 30 mark. Grant Fox, no short again.
Well, I hope that acted as a spur for New Zealand in these last 5 minutes to up the tempo and play with a sort of urgency and continuity that I'd like to see them do. I think they've just lost a little bit of interest for the last 10 minutes.
Well, Grant Fox has been on target with every single kick. Been short with a couple in the second half with that wind against. And the score 29-7 now. Well, there was no contest there. Mark Wyatt Up against Vainga Tuingamala. 12 stone 2 meeting 15 stone. Another little ploy worked by the Canadians. That was forward. Zambrook still trying to have a say in the running of the game and being told to shut up and get on with it. That's a bit short for his forwards. The Canadians gather it in. Now some space. There's men out there too. Can he take it? He can, but he can't get round the outside of John Kerwin. Back inside to Wyatt. McKinnon's over there. But the ball has gone into touch.
What great play for the Canadians in atrocious conditions, passing the ball out 15 yards to the winger who took it absolutely on the rattle. I can do nothing but congratulate both sides on what's been a terrific game when you consider the conditions out here.
62, 21, 32, and catch 32.
Bashop turning bad ball into good. Tuingamala. Originally from Western Samoa. In touch. Tuingamala opting to play for New Zealand, and Tangaloa, who's a very, very similar player, now opting to play for his native Western Samoa.
I don't know why they find these 15 stone quick wingers, John, but they must breed them on that island.
Back goes Alan Wetton. Oh, and now suddenly they're in trouble, but Bashop again quick on his feet. Tangaloa. Laid back by Sharon. But the Canadian back row deserve a lot of praise. Glenn Ennis there, the number 8, and Al Sharon getting in, tidying up that ball, getting back that tremendous burst from Gord McKinnon just a little while ago.
48-19, very close. You get to the ball. 48-19.
And Bashop not able to clear it that time. Penalty.
Very scruffy lineup from New Zealand. They would have been able just to kick the ball out and go back to having another one.
I'm wondering whether that is Sean Fitzpatrick down again. There the incident. Fitzpatrick and Bashop getting in each other's way, and the Canadians herring forward. A little knock on there that was missed. Evans driving through. Now that's a good ball, except they haven't got too many people left there. Ennis. The big man. Hadley. But they've lost their drive. Can they find it again? Yes, a good little chip through from Stewart. And a penalty for offside in front of the post almost against the All Blacks. Tynan. McKinnon still on his feet. Lays it back beautifully this time. Reese and steaming towards the line. He's there. The number 8. Sorry, it's the number 5. Norm Hadley. No, it's not. It is number 6, Al Sharon. The wing forward getting in there for the Canadian second try. Here he is. Just stretching out over the line.
And if anybody deserves to score for Canada, it's one of their back row trio who have been all over the pitch and given every ounce for the Canadian team today. And listen to the crowd. I think they've convinced themselves it's French-Canadian.
Well, with Al Charon, that's true. The only man in the team who plays his domestic rugby outside British Columbia, plays for Ottawa Irish. Rees takes over the kicking duties and makes the conversion. At the same time, Preb Howard whistles for the end of the match. A tremendous contest. The All Blacks always in control. Were always going to win after starting so well. But a great performance from the Canadians. The result, 29 to New Zealand, 13 to Canada. And now New Zealand will meet Australia in the second semi-final.
Clear-cut win on the scoreboard this afternoon, but how encouraging and how satisfying a performance was it for you?
Oh, it's very satisfying. You know, this is quarter-final stuff now. If you win by 1 point, it means you go through. And you know, we saw some surprises, if you like, with France losing yesterday and that. And we wanted to win. We did that, and we wanted to win pretty convincingly and with a bit of a pattern. And you know, those conditions are a great leveler. And I thought we did it for most of the time. They scored in the last minute. I think they may deserve that, but very happy with the result.